a pitch shot. We worked on a chip shot. Actually, in that chipping video, we did about a maximum chip shot to where that club worked its way up to about waist height, and we gave you some techniques for putting that crunch into a chip. Obviously, a chip could be that same type of pattern with about the smallest possible stroke to hit one, that's close to the green. When we separate the word chip from a pitch in our little system here, is the pitch is what we're going to allow that club to go above our waist, and the club head is going to get up above my hands. So the only way that that can happen is if, number one, this part of the power Y, this right elbow, bends. That's number one. The right wrist part of the power Y is going to bend back, and this left wrist will obviously work up. So that hand is palm neutral on that backswing. As I make my little pitch shot, it'll stay palm neutral, and the wrist will work up. So that's a good way to look at the backswing. On the way down, obviously, we're going to start to put our little moves in there, and once we've made that club go above our waist and made that club work up, we need to add that right shoulder turning towards the ball more on the way down. On that chip shot, where that club stayed on the same basic little angle, we could have just felt like we went more straight back and straight through, and we could have kept our body what felt like much more over it. But on this one, because that club is worked up and the plane angle has shifted up slightly, we need to make that right shoulder go towards the ball more. So here's where you're going to introduce that feeling where you're leaning into the turn more, where that right, you're going to get a little tilt of the axis as that right shoulder turns its way towards the ball as that body opens on this little pitch shot here. And you'll notice that my contact, my ball, this is a great place for you to practice your ball turf contact and get used to seeing that club strike ball, then the lowest point of the stroke. And you'll notice that even though this backstroke, that club worked its way above my waist, that follow through only went to both arms extended on this side. So people say to me, well, isn't that one of the biggest things in golf to have, a big follow through, and shouldn't my backswing, if it went up this far, shouldn't my follow through go through an equal amount or more? And no. The answer is just plain old no. What's taking place is all the pressure is going into the ground. So all the pressure here I'm putting into the ball and into the ground. So even though that club made it above my waist on the backswing and I had some out-of-line conditions of that power Y, my move towards the ball and my collision with the ground is what's going to slow that club head up and shorten my follow through. So you need to see it as a move towards the ball, and all the pressure's going into the ground, and that's going to slow the club head up. The collision with the ground is going to dampen that club head, so your follow through is going to look a little shorter than your backswing. On a pitch shot, we're striving to get to both arms extended as that right shoulder worked its way towards the ball. Now I'm hitting a pitching wedge here, maybe 40 or 50 yards. I could take the speed off that pitch shot and just have it where it feels like I'm walking through the shot more and make it a little bit of a lazier stroke. And now that shot I just hit there went about 20 yards. So you could control how far it goes by, number one, the speed of my swing. I can make it real light. I can control it by the size of my swing, or I can control it by what club I use. I can also control it by how fast I pivot my body and put pressure into the ground. So I could make a real short backswing, a real short pitch, and still zip it a good 50, 60 yards because I put more pressure into the ground from an effective pivot and that right shoulder going towards the ball as my body opens. You'll notice that on the way through, I went back to that palm neutral look of that left hand. Not turned, not rolled. So this is a great place to practice your wrist conditions, and I stayed palm neutral into that follow through. So this word lambkin on my grip here, this word lambkin on my grip is still matched up with my forearm here as I hit that shot. It wouldn't have gone out of alignment. I wouldn't have thrown that club by or anything of that nature. So that's our power pitch shot. Hope you add that into your game.